Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. This time it's a Tom Ford private blend known as Tuscan Leather, one of the most legendary modern fragrances. 2007 is when this came out, and this is a private blend which is one of the earlier private blends which made Tom Ford so famous. Just to give you a perspective, right? 2007 this came out, and 2010 came out Aventus. Both those fragrances are legendary status, but because of different reasons. When I first tried it, I did not like it because it smelled rather weird, very dark, gloomy, almost impossible to wear for me. And when I say I find something impossible to wear, you take it seriously because you've seen my collection. I've got my fair share of very, very challenging fragrances. But this one, I just couldn't deal with it. So I got another decant. This is basically batch A40. So last year, April 2020 is when this batch was released. And it's gone very, very cold out there. So, excuse me. So I've been trying these difficult fragrances just to see how they behave in cold. And it's at the moment, you know, if you go out in your pajamas, your butt is going to freeze. It's that cold. -2 at the moment in the spot. 9:25 in the evening, it's -2. So I thought I'll try this. I've been wearing this for the entire week, and I'll show you how little I've used. So I've literally gone one tiny spray each time, and it's really, really thrilled me. So what does it do? Tuscan Leather. The hint is in the name. It's a leather fragrance, but it's actually much more than that. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a sort of a dry throat. Whenever it goes very cold, I get this sort of throat, you know, it's dry. So I might clear my voice more than I do normally. So when you first spray it, it has this most unique combination. It's smoky and fruity leather. Yeah, smoke and fruit. How unusual, right? And that too, candied fruit with leather. Leather which is extremely comfortable. Imagine a leather sofa or a leather armchair with beautiful cushions, high quality leather, and that's how it smells. Amazing. And then it has this weird ashy note. It smells as if somebody has been smoking and they've left a lot of ash all over the sofa. So imagine yourself in a prestigious bar and you're smoking a cigar, a nice cigar. It has this dry tobacco sort of a smell, or cigar smell if you like, and ash. And then it has this nondescript booziness about itself. Yeah? No wonder this fragrance has legendary status because, you know, so many facets come to the fore. So, the notes. And you get all of them. So when you first spray, after a few minutes, you'll start to get a nice raspberry. Candied fruit raspberry. Doesn't smell like fresh raspberries. It has a note of tobacco, not mentioned in the notes breakdown. It has a note of olibanum, which is what is making the fragrance smoky and deep and mysterious. And it has a note of thyme. And that thyme is sort of merged with jasmine. And jasmine and that leather note, the typical Tuscan leather note, is what is a killer. You know, it's perfect. That balance of jasmine and leather is just amazing. Yeah, but this fragrance is not animalic or indolic or anything like that. But that Tuscan leather, which has been replicated by so many guys, you know, so many fragrances came out which try to do the Tuscan leather. It's just amazing. There's a little bit of darkness about this fragrance, which is balanced by that booziness, which is again not mentioned in the notes breakdown. So this fragrance, when it opens up, it's basically a promise of immense enjoyment, right? Then when the fragrance starts to dry down, you get more of sweetness. Yeah, so the thyme and the olibanum go back and more sweetness comes in, which is not my favorite bit. But the fragrance also has this beautiful woody sort of texture and warmth, amber, right? And with time, you get leather goes down a bit and suede comes up a bit. and becomes like a suede fragrance. You smell more suede. The saffron makes the fragrance smell like a suedey, waxy suede kind of a fragrance, along with the fruity sweetness and a little bit of warmth, more warmth. When it dries down, the leather comes back. The bitterness comes back. I really like the bitterness of this fragrance. Not a fan of the sweetness. The jasmine comes back, and you have equal amount of warmth and a little bit of sort of oiliness, which is olibanum's trait. Olibanum, when it dries down, it has this little oily trait to it. So it's almost like relaxing in a very expensive, almost exclusive, high-end bar. Yeah, and as the evening goes away, all the ladies have gone probably, and the sweet makeup-y thing is gone. There's a makeup-y vibe because of the saffron. This fragrance is spectacular. Spectacular. So, pros and cons. Number one pro. The fragrance is a masterpiece. Yeah, it's been created to sort of represent a place rather than something, a place. And that place is a very exclusive bar. Yeah, that's the number one winner for me. It creates an impression, and when fragrances create an impression of a place, they normally tend to be very interesting. Right? Number two, the fragrance is a leather fragrance. Leather fragrances have an impression. Leather fragrances were very popular in the 70s, and they're very, very butch. Hard to wear. This one, not so much. Not so much. It's a beautiful, beautiful leather. But you have to get used to it. And I think it's been mellowed down. The memory that I have of Tuscan leather was very different to this. Very different in the sense that it was unwearable for me. I didn't like it at all. Now it's just something that I would consider a bottle of. Yeah, that's the second. Third one, and this is probably the most important thing. If you have the right personality, right? If you're a big guy or a big personality, and you're very confident, and you want something to wear to special occasions, evening time, cold weather, this probably is one of the best scents I can recommend. If you like leather, if you like something which is slightly unusual, standoffish even, but you're not afraid because your personality is such, this is the fragrance. Especially for well-built guys, you want to go to a nightclub or a nice bar, and you want to give off that air of exclusivity and confidence. Those are the three upsides. Downsides. Some people compare the smell of this fragrance to cocaine. Now, I've never done anything hard in my life, and I couldn't say yes, yay or nay. But if you've done it and you know the smells of cocaine, that might bring back some memories. So test it out. Number two, not an easy fragrance to like or wear. As I told you, initially I didn't like it at all. But over the years I've tried different fragrances. Maybe I've matured, maybe I can tolerate it. I don't know. I used to really hate that raspberry and leather bitter combination. I really didn't like it at all. And I remember it was a little bit nutty as well then. It's not nutty anymore. So this is not an easy fragrance to wear. Keep that in mind. So you might want to test it. And the third one is the value for money. The thing is, if you can't wear it as much as you would like to wear some of your other fragrances, private blend, this is 250 pounds for 50 ml. It becomes very, very hard to justify. If you're going to wear, look how little I wore, and I've worn this at least, 5-6 times in the last couple of weeks. It's not easy to justify that much money. And there are many copies of this fragrance, some of which I will review in due course. So it's hard to justify. But if you can get yourself a decant and enjoy that decant, the smell of Tuscan leather, please do. It's an experience. It really is. Especially if you fall in that category of people who have that kind of personality, that kind of gravity in their personality, who can really pull this off. It takes a bit to pull this off. Compliment factor. Depends on who smells you. These sort of fragrances, you can't guarantee compliments, but you will get respect. Yeah? If you like that, this fragrance is for you. Performance. Absolutely stellar performance. In this cold weather, I've got one tiny spray. I went out just to put my rubbish out, and I could smell Tuscan leather everywhere. Just a tiny spray. I don't know whether that's visible on my wrist. I could smell it everywhere. So, performance is absolutely ginormous on this one. Whether, weather, cold weather, cooler the better. So -2, -5, -10, excellent. Age groups, mature. 35 plus. I can't see, well, it depends on your personality and your personal likes, but I can't see a 25-year-old liking this unless you really get bowled over by that fruity, smoky leather note. Some people I know just went gaga over it. It didn't do it for me, but I'm loving it at the moment, as you can tell from this review. So I've covered all aspects. Marks out of 10. Because of the 3 factors I mentioned, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think 8 out of 10 is a fair marks for such a legendary fragrance. Doesn't take anything away from the fragrance. It's just that it's not that versatile. You couldn't wear this everywhere, and it's quite expensive. But if you don't mind getting a decant, I think you'll really enjoy this. 8 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed the review, fellas. Take care. Bye-bye.